Google's next mid-range Pixel might be the most predictable leak we've seen in years, because if this report is accurate, the Pixel 10a is basically the Pixel 9a again, at the exact same price with almost nothing new to justify it. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. It really helps me keep bringing you more tech breakdowns like this one. Here's what just cleared up all the recent confusion. A well-known European leaker claims the Pixel 10a will be officially announced on February 18, go up for pre-orders the same day, and actually hit stores on March 5. That's earlier than last year, and on paper that sounds like good news. But once you look closer, things get a lot more complicated. This matters because the Pixel A series is supposed to be Google's value play. It's for people who want clean Android, great cameras, and long software support without paying flagship money. And right now, a lot of those people are trying to decide whether to buy the Pixel 9a or wait. This leak was supposed to make that decision easier. Instead, it kind of exposes a bigger problem with Google's strategy. Let's talk prices first, because that's where expectations were high. According to the report, the Pixel 10a will cost €549 for the 128GB version and €649 for the 256GB model in Europe, both with 8GB of RAM. If that sounds familiar, it should. Those are the exact same prices as the Pixel 9a in many European countries, and that almost certainly means the US price will stay at $499 unchanged. Now, if you were worried Google would raise prices like a lot of other Android brands have, this is technically good news. But if you are expecting the Pixel 10a to be cheaper, or at least offer more for the same money, that's probably not happening. And that brings us to the real issue. What are you actually getting for that price? Based on leaked renders and specs, the Pixel 10a looks almost identical to the Pixel 9a. Same general design, same camera bar, same overall feel. And it doesn't stop there. The rumored specs suggest a 6.3-inch display with a 120Hz refresh rate, a 48-megapixel main camera paired with a 13-megapixel ultra-wide, a 13-megapixel selfie camera, and a 5,100 milliamp battery. In other words, the same core setup as last year. Even more concerning, some leaks suggest Google might reuse the Tensor G4 chip, the same processor found in the Pixel 9a. Now, this latest report hints that Google could upgrade the phone to a Tensor G5 instead, which would at least be something. But if the chip is the only meaningful change, that's a tough sell at the same price. Because here's the question you have to ask. Why buy the Pixel 10a when the Pixel 9a exists, looks the same, and will almost certainly be discounted? This is where Google's yearly release cycle starts to feel unnecessary. A mid-range phone doesn't need to be refreshed every single year if nothing meaningful changes. In fact, keeping the Pixel 9a around at a lower price and skipping straight to a genuinely improved Pixel 11a might actually make more sense, even if it sounds unconventional. And yes, companies reuse designs all the time. That's normal. But when the design, the display, the cameras, the battery, and possibly even the processor all stay the same, the new label starts to feel meaningless. At that point, it's not a refresh, it's a rebrand. Personally, I find it hard to recommend the Pixel 10a based on what we know right now. Not because it's a bad phone, but because it doesn't seem to justify its existence. If you already have a Pixel 9a, there's almost no reason to upgrade. And if you don't, waiting for discounts on the 9a could be the smarter move. Of course, all of this could change if Google surprises us with real upgrades or aggressive deals. But as it stands, the Pixel 10a feels like a reminder that not every lineup needs a yearly update, especially when the updates barely exist. If the Pixel 10a struggles to sell, maybe that message finally gets through, and maybe next time Google focuses less on releasing something new and more on releasing something better. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. See you in the next video. Take care.